Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, the founder of Peer Guidance. We're a purpose before profit group. We love helping. We love giving back. We love scaling companies. We love talking about mental health and the struggles of entrepreneurs. So if you need anything, reach out. I also want to talk about what's scrolling along the bottom. Founders Coffee. It's a place for entrepreneurs to come meet like-minded people. It's very casual. It doesn't matter if you're a clothing store, a tech company, a B2B SaaS, whatever you are, just come down, have a coffee, meet some fellow entrepreneurs and have a nice conversation. Also, of course, I want to give a quick shout out to Startup Week next week. There's going to be lots of events. Check it out. Go to the platform website, sign up, launch party, great place. Vote for your top 10. I made a funny little parody. You might want to check it out. You'll never, I should have gave a prize away for somebody to guess who I voted for the top 10, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you. It's a secret. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit here. But one of the things I'm excited about, and I say this a lot, it's long overdue. I've been such a fan of Christa and Renee and what they've built at Tacit Edge. How are you doing today, Christa?
I'm just top. That's the best way I can describe it. It's Wednesday. Things are amazing. I agree. Long overdue, Jade. Happy to be here.
It's again, I've been a fan for almost a fan from afar for a long time. A
We've
big,
been
big.
circling each other's orbits for quite a while. It's kind of funny. It makes me laugh, actually.
I know, right? All the things that you do, all the things that you accomplished, all the, you're one of those people that I envy so much because the care and the passion and that you have for fellow entrepreneurs is very similar to mine.
It's true. And I think there's a reason why we do this work every day. And through each of our individual businesses and our pursuits, the real passion behind it and how we support other people is real. And you can see that on us, right? You know that if you walked up to us at an event and you had a real question, we're going to stop whatever we're doing and we're going to talk to you about what it is that you need and offer some perspective or guidance or whatever that might look like for folks, because we want to see everybody win. And I think that is the key. When you experience pure joy in entrepreneurship, you want so bad for everybody else to have that too, right? So I think that's really what's behind it, at least for Renee and myself. And I feel that in you, Jade. That's, I think, part of the reasons why we get along so well.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, and I totally agree with you. And it's not only us. This is what makes Alberta great. There's so many unbelievable people in our community.
Yeah, I agree. And just that shared wealth and knowledge that we all have and can bring together, so you don't have to step in that turd that we just stepped in last week. I think that's that sense of community that is, I did a thing and it didn't work out. Let me share that with you. And it just allows people to accelerate. And it's almost the purest form of agility here in Alberta, that speed and that pace to which we all connect and share allows us to propel our businesses even quicker, especially if you're doing a lot of public events. So it's a great place to connect with people, but also to share so that, like I said, we can all win at speed, which is what we all really want deep down. Doesn't have to be hard.
No, well, and that's the thing, right? And and what I always say is, asking for help's not a sign of weakness. And if I can't help you, chances are I know somebody that can.
Yeah.
And that introduction will be made.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I want to get into talking about, all the great things that you guys have done here. So,
Sure.
like I said, you've been a leader in our community for many, many, many years. And again, nobody appreciates that more than I do. So what I want to do is dive in a little bit to your earlier stages. What drove, a little bit more about you. What drove you to become an entrepreneur before, you're doing Tacit Edge?
I think it's important to note that many of us who have businesses, it's not our first rodeo. I can say that this started for me at very formative years with my brother. We had a paper route. So we always had some sort of side hustle. And I think that a lot of us growing up in the era that we grew up in, it allowed us to have jobs that don't exist now. But we got a taste of what it was like to have some agency and some ability to create an income source that was of our own making, right? Based on the level of effort we were willing to put in. So I think it started for me there. My brother soon bailed on it, and I had to let it go because I was the younger sibling. So if he wasn't willing to walk the neighborhood with me, it was a non-starter. But that's really where it started for me. And then after, many years of being in and out of different professions and just finding my way in the place where I thought that I fit, I always knew that I had a knack for materializing things in the real world very quickly once I could get some clarity in my imagination. So it really was Tacit Edge was bringing together every single pursuit of every company I'd ever built, everything I'd ever done on my own, every product I'd ever built at every other company. I brought all that together with Renee. And that is what was the foundation of Tacit Edge. So definitely wasn't a first attempt. And I use this term a lot with my students that your SFD, your shitty first draft of anything is basically a combination of everything that you've ever done before to try it in a new configuration. And that's what fueled Tacit very early days was all of that.
Wow. I before we talk about Tacit, I'm like, that was my first job, paper route in, in Melville, Saskatchewan, right? You're 10 years old. You go down, you grab the leader post, you put the thing on your head, you're on your bike. You have to collect your own money. You don't even realize the amount of what a paper boy or paper girl was training for being an entrepreneur.
Well, and the amount of trust that the company would put into teenagers to get these to everybody's doorstep. I'm sure everybody can all have a good laugh around how sometimes these things made it into the dumpster and not onto people's doorsteps. But just like I said, that early days exposure to total agency, I think, is the thing that entrepreneurs are hooked on. We joke that our time isn't our own and we're super busy, and we become entrepreneurs so that we can control our time. But that doesn't mean necessarily that we're not going to be doing a ton of work during that time. We just want to own it. And I think
Yeah.
that for me, very early days, just owning my time was the thing that I loved the most. So I thought to myself, if there's a way that I could do this for real and just, like I said, have agency and freedom with my time, that is where the best work lives for me. That's where I can be the most creative. And that's where I can do the thing that I really want to do. So this is why I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be right now. Otherwise unemployable in any other circumstance, I would say. Oh no, I lost Jade. So now it's just me rolling solo, and he warned me this might happen.
Oh,
And you're
yeah.
back. Yeah, you're
That's
back.
why we do it, right?
Amazing.
Nothing goes normal in business.
Works on my machine.
After I said there's no issues with Restream, right? Knock on wood. I should have known. I should have.
Amazing.
But the funny thing is what I remember, I remember so clearly when I got my first check, and then you got some points, and the first thing I ever bought with my own money, and it was a very tough decision, was a cassette of either Bonnie Tyler, Faster Than the Speed of Light, or Michael Jackson. And I bought Bonnie Tyler because I love that song so much. So I bought that first. It's something that I remember, that feeling of being, oh my God, I did this. I earned it. It took me a while to get there. And I was so, I was so passionate about it. And again, I know you don't think back about some of those little things that maybe made the difference of you becoming an entrepreneur.
Well, I think for me, when I look back at what I spent my first paycheck on, it was foreshadowing exactly the life I have today, which is hilarious. I'm so glad you brought this up. It was the Barbie camper van and the cassette tape of Cyndi Lauper, She's So Unusual.
Right? Little thing.
All of this 100% tracks. I have an RV. I mean, I am unusual.
All these, you think about, you bring it up to today's, it's just the little things in life that make me happy now.
Yeah, it is.
Buying cassette, buying something,
still
right?
have that cassette tape. and I've upgraded the van.
That's a good thing. Cassette tape,
Yes.
yeah. Van, I'm happy. I'm happy you upgraded the van.
Yes.
I want to let's dive into a little. We could probably talk about paper routes all day, but let's
Oh,
dive
sure.
into a little bit about the early days of Tacit Edge,
Mhm.
and kind of where it started, how it started, and kind of the evolution that you've taken into AI.
Well, we started because we wanted to build a course. So Renee was working at Benevity. I'd already moved on from Benevity. I was over at Morgan Stanley building a private equity product. And I was serving on the board of Product YYC. We got a call from SATE, and it was Laura Buxis, and she wanted to meet to talk about product management curriculum. So I got on a call with her, and we started talking about the emerging importance of the competency of product management, which is the ability to bring a CEO, everything that a CEO does, talking to users, trying to figure out what combination of technology, people, and services we need to solve a problem. You package all of those skills up and you drop them inside a business, and they're called an intrapreneur. And this is the core of what product management is in an organization. And we needed a standard of practice across the industry because it is an emerging field. And like every emerging field, everyone's winging it, everybody's self taught. Then we start to see some patterns around what makes people exceptional at it. And then we start to write curriculum around those patterns so that we can support people in raising their level of their competency and their confidence in this field. We also noticed, and of course I knew this firsthand, that there was not a lot of women in product management, and there was not a lot of folks that represented any other groups. And a lot of this just came out of early days in tech, just promoting engineers into these roles. And so we had an issue where there wasn't equitable access to these roles, and a lot of that was being fueled by lack of access to education and experience to get you ready for a role like that. So I took that meeting with Laura, and then I said to her, I'm like, I'm going to do this. We're going to write the curriculum, but I have to make one quick phone call because I'm not going to do this on my own. I called Renee and I told her what we wanted to do. And she was like, I'm in. She was already teaching this at another organization. I had curriculum too as well that I was testing inside Morgan Stanley. So we smashed them together and we built that course within 6 weeks. It was the fastest SATE had ever brought a course to market. And it launched hard and went amazing. And the results spoke for themselves. We've been hovering around 72 to 78% higher rate coming out of that program.
Nice.
And those stats are unique and they're first of its kind in the world because they represented an equal distribution amongst all identities as to who got the job, which had never been done. Nobody was even measuring it though either, right? So as product people, we are always measuring things, and that's the core. And that was the very first product that Tacit Edge built. From there, we chased our students. We would follow them, continually talk to them about what they were needing, what they faced. So then once we were moving them up the career ladder, they needed a more professional application that really taught them how to influence an organization, not just sideways, but also up and down so that they could really hold their weight in a room and in discussions where there was strategy. So we created the product management professional product. Then from there, we started doing more unique experiences with executive coaching because then people were moving up and needed to get into the C-suite and needed to, again, the skills to move with the needs of what executives need. So we created courses that direction. And then, of course, the world of AI hit. And we're a very small operation, but we have a global reach. So I was already using a lot of products that are still very popular today that a lot of people think are new, but they're not. They've been around for ages to run our back office and just run our operations. So we started writing curriculum and adding it into our courses to be able to just keep pace with what was happening. Then it became very obvious that everybody wanted that to be the focus. So we built 2 courses side by side. I had a corporate version that I had inside organizations that I was helping them discover their path in AI by co-authoring their strategy. Because if you're a maker, if you're really involved in the tech, you know what good looks like when it comes to strategy inside your organization versus bringing in a consultant that just tells you what they think your next step is. Well, you have a different connection to the outcome. And then we had a B2C version that was also running. Then we just took the results of both of those and took the wins and the learnings from each. And we have our flagship products that we have today that are out there that are AI leader, business leader focused, right? We believe that if you coach leaders and executives and give them core advanced AI literacy, it helps close the gap between folks that are running really fast underneath and being told to slow down versus the executives up here that are thinking that someone else is going to come in and show them the way. We want to make it a collective experience. So we have products to get people to here, and then we have products from people up here to get where they need to meet where everyone else is. And that is where we're at today. It's pure product led at its core. We just listen to what people need and we build courses around what they need. It's as simple as that.
Well, I know you think it's as simple as that.
I know.
And the way you say it sounds so simple. I'm not going to lie.
Well, there's other things that we built around that to support it too as well. It was really important for us to have, a relationship with post-secondaries and micro-credentialing. So we have that. We built the International Product Foundation that oversees the accreditations. So we've got that running too as well. We also have an accelerator for folks that really want to go and take big swings technically and want to build something out. It's very difficult in our space to find trusted development teams that just you don't get hosed. And it hits women entrepreneurs the most. If I had a nickel for every story with every woman that has hit my Zoom doorstep with a story of how a dev team took her for a ride and she lost everything, I wanted to solve that problem too. So we hit all legs of the stool, like, with your literacy, with your education, coaching, implementation, strategy, all of it. But all of it starts with you wanting to learn something so that you can actually make better decisions. We believe that it's not a consultant that is ever going to take your business to the next level because they can't tap into your proprietary data set, which is you. And so we want people to reach deep down into themselves to find their next big step in their business and to get that compass tuned. And that's the majority of the work that we do.
And that's what I love. I mean, one of the reasons I, founded Pure Guidance back in the days because consultants were running around ripping people off. And I really see that there's a lot of people running around say they know AI and they know shit. And
you can tell.
I get into a lot of arguments with this, because again, I don't know where AI is and I don't pretend to know where AI is. And when we were working with a client, we have lots of different strategies, right? You have a business strategy, you have a financial strategy, we build mental health strategy, you build people strategy, IP strategy. And obviously there needs to be an AI strategy.
I think there needs to be a sustainable business strategy that goes after opportunities that you can't see right now because you couldn't because you were too busy. I think that's how I know people really know AI, because we're not talking about AI when we're having a conversation about AI. We're talking about pure problems that we're trying to solve with technology that is just now possible. And that may be a combination of something magical that can happen with AI on top of you getting your data shit together. I'm not sure if we can swear on this podcast. Are we allowed to swear? Sorry. It's
absolutely
everybody. But that's really what it comes down to, is really having a better relationship with your data. And people who are in the know about AI and have gone past being self-taught know that the core of the conversation is, what is the data that you're collecting? Is it actually useful to you? And everybody who's coming into your space right now is coming in with clean, very lightweight data because they know that that's at the core of a great, well-functioning business. Everyone else, including it could be everyone that's listening to this, your data may not be that useful to you, right? So that is always where you start. Is the future of your business doesn't lie in how you're operating today. It lies in the results of you cleaning up and making your data useful so that you can identify something you're blind to right now, and then you go after that. And that is, I think, at the root of every conversation that is AI. It's not the product. It's a function of us really taking the time to update systems that are decades out of date in the majority of cases in Alberta.
And Totally, like 100% agree with everything that you just said. Again, I'm talking with Christa Hill, one of the founders of Tacit Edge. Click on the website in the comment section, take you right there. You know, like, with the Canadian Bitcoin Consortium, which we just rebranded, we built courses for Nate as well. Like, I guess,
Yeah.
Nate, not Sate, but it was the same thing. They were quick. They gave us credibility. We understood it. We knew what people wanted. We actually taught them as well. So I think it was something that, I understand that the credibility that needs to come with it is so important. And that's when I started diving into what you guys were doing, I was like, oh my God, you guys actually work with SATE. There's an education side of it. It's believable is not the right word, if you know what I mean.
Well,
But
it is
it is,
hard to break
yeah,
into
but
post-secondaries. It's a
credibility. There's
different,
the word I
yeah,
want.
totally. And we also
Credibility.
work with Athabasca University too, as well as Brock University out east. So there's a lot of working with post-secondaries to launch a course is challenging because there's a lot to wade through to make sure that my favorite word is rigor. The rigor around the assessments and the process has to be at a certain level that it can be respected, because at a continuing education institution, that is a core function of why you would go to them, right? It's a trusted source of education. So I would say
Yeah.
it gave us early days a huge education on what it might take to make something real, and then to make something that could be respected. And I will forever be grateful to SAID for that experience and how generous they were in sharing with us what it would take to do things. And then, the lessons that we've learned through the years of working with them and keeping that course alive and continuing to help it grow has also been like the next level of education on how that works, and to make it viable for a post-secondary to work with a partner, because it's not easy for them to go outside of their ecosystem to bring someone in. It's a lot easier for them to work internally. But when you have an environment to where the technology is moving in real time, that may not be the most sustainable move for them to have somebody inside. Do they have somebody dedicated to keeping it current? And the realities of busy post-secondary work is that that's not always, right? But we can. I get up in the morning, first thing I do is I'm hitting all the blogs, I'm reading all the materials, and then when I hit the classroom in the afternoon, I'm like, check this out, look at this, I'm updating curriculum. It's an organism, not an artifact. And that is really the key to great education now, is that we've got to move it away from being an artifact that sits on a shelf to an organism that's living and breathing. And that's what we're demonstrating out in the world in the post-secondary environment.
Yeah. And even old Peter LaFontaine agrees with us, saying many
Oh,
businesses
Peter.
still found.
Hey,
Yeah.
man.
Peter's
Good
listening
to
in.
see you.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think obviously he's done his bike ride into downtown, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Or maybe he's listening on his bike ride. I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah. Good to see you, man.
But yeah, and that's why I love, again, you mentioned Brock. We've done some work with them out in Ontario as well. So again,
Yeah.
those companies that are those educations that, systems that are ready to move and quick, and which is why I like, those the SATEs and the NATES and things like that. But again, I can't stress the amount of understanding and the credibility that comes with what you guys are doing, because again, there's a lot of crap out there, there's a lot of fluff out there, and sometimes you just I'm like, you shouldn't be talking to this company about AI because you know shit.
Yeah, and I think another thing is too, we're out in the community. We're pretty visible, and you can get in touch with us. So if we ship something that's hot garbage out into the marketplace, you can tell me about it at a Tech Thursday event, or where you might see me at a Toast event, or wherever I might be that day, right?
Or
So
small business week next, or not small
yeah,
business, but
right, all of
next
the
week.
events. Yeah, and so to me, it really matters. It matters that what we put out there is high quality, and it is of a certain standard, because when I'm out in the world, I need to make sure that I can get behind it and it's what I really believe in. And if you know me for more than 5 minutes, you know that I have a lot of enthusiasm for a lot of things, and I will go down a rabbit hole, and we will make sure that if we don't get it right, we make sure that it's still high quality and it's a moving target. And I think that's really what we represent. Renee and I are are known for shipping high quality products. This wasn't, the Say course wasn't our first product that we shipped. And so when you think about what it took to get to a place where we had the practical education in the world of building and shipping products and building businesses before we felt like we were in the category of folks that could write about it, that I think there's a long journey behind that too, that just like I said, all these little tiles that you put down, all these seeds that you plant in your entire career, when you're thinking about launching a business, pull on every thread. And the one that felt the most exciting and the most interesting to you, that's the thing you build a business around. And then you chase that one user that you would jump out of bed in the morning to serve and their needs. You bring those things together, and it's lightning in a bottle for joy in entrepreneurship. There's never a bad day at the office here. So, because we built a lifestyle, not an empire. But the fun thing is when you build the lifestyle and you're building the kind of business and you're serving the people that you really love to serve, the money comes. But it's hard to do that early days when some of that is a little unclear and you're a little unsure. But once you get there, it's a really beautiful thing.
And thank you for sharing, saying you've built something that you're very proud of. It's lifestyle, and the money will come. Because I talk about this all the time, and I think it's a downfall of our ecosystem. Talking about the fantasy of entrepreneurship rather than the reality of it.
Yeah.
And if you yourself a $2 to $5 million a year company, it's life changing money, and you can have yourself a wonderful lifestyle. Once you get there, it takes a long time sometimes, right? Like it's not without ups and downs, but that I really appreciate you saying that, because it's something that I've been saying for 10 plus years as I've dived into our community here. And it's something that I still continue to say, and people should be more proud and more focused on building something for themselves.
And I think if you put lifestyle first, all of a sudden the big exit story doesn't matter as much. The building the thing for the VC doesn't matter as much. And I have to tell you, I've got a lot of friends who've had a lot of big exits, have done a lot of amazing things. But if you sat them down and you asked them how it ended on that exit, it's not a joyful story. It's hard. It is a hard right turn out of the vision that you thought that you had, that you were building, that was everything that you were. And in the end, it does turn into something else because there's a lot of other people at the table. So I know for me and for what we're building here, it was easier for me to dream up a sustainable business model. It was the same amount of effort to build up a sustainable business model as it is to chase funding. And now, at least though, if I chased funding for us to grow, I'm not just serving my user, I'm also serving the funders too as well, which is a different ICP, and it's a different set of needs versus if I just chase a sustainable business model, I just have to serve my user. I've got half as much work, and it might take me twice as much time to figure out that what they need and that market fit. But at the end, when it works, I don't have to worry about that other party and what they think about it. I only need to serve my user and my person, that my ideal customer profile and the people that we want to serve. So to me, and especially for women founders that might be listening, it's extra tricky for us. And I've, had a front row seat to a lot of midnight phone calls that I get with founders that are in the final stages and are having a really hard time because it's turned into something that they just wish it never turned that direction. And I think that if you can, just know the effort is equal. It's just what problem do you want to solve? What problem do you want to have at the end? Do you want to have the problem at the end where you're fighting for that vision and for that passion? Or do you want to just enjoy the rise and have it be slower and just a little bit more sustainable, but slower? And you don't have that big fancy exit story, but you have an incredible life at the end that you really enjoy living. So what are we doing it for? I think that's ultimately when I talk to entrepreneurs and we have that conversation around lifestyle versus empire. Do you want the story that's on social media, or do you just want a really great life? What would you prefer? I can help you build both, but just tell me which one is the one that really speaks to you deep down, if you could, be honest.
Totally agree. And we have this conversation, those heart to heart conversations with entrepreneurs every day.
Yeah.
And And it is, and I love having those conversations, right? And diving deep and why do you want to do it, or what you want to do, or where do you want to be, or where do you want to go? And I love those conversations. And I mean, Peter has a question in the thing. We'll talk about that later, but it's actually probably something we should talk about on a podcast in the future about K to 12 education and how AI will help that. But that's a whole conversation
It
on its
is, and
own.
we're really behind, right? There's other countries around the world that are on their 8th or ninth iteration of this. So I would say we
Yep.
can answer that one really quickly, which is let's learn from what is happening around the world and not reinvent the wheel over here. We can take lessons that are happening, especially over in some parts of Asia, where they've completely created at least multiple attempts of solving this problem K to 12. And it's spectacular, right? It didn't go smooth. It wasn't perfect, as technology is not. AI is built to fail, but they're already, 8 iterations in, and we're just talking about it. So,
Well, yes, exactly.
yeah,
And if Peter, and you, you'll answer that call, in the comment section after. I think would be a nice little thing, and then I think
sure.
it gives me an idea for a podcast, a multiple people podcast, in the future, talking about how AI might be able to help. And I just posted up there, the journey is the reward, and thanks for that comment, Peter, because I think both Krista and I believe that as well. So speaking about the journey, what's next for Tacit Edge?
Well, we are expanding in our offering mostly into the corporate realm. So we've always had a strong corporate presence with training, but we're starting to see now that companies are moving away from the traditional 2-day in-person team building with education model to understanding that learning how to use AI and automation, you need to be at your workstation, you need to be in the environment that you're working in every day. And this is a thing that is something that you build on week over week. So the continual advancements of our Leadership Express program is basically will be my area of focus for the rest of the year as we pilot it in multiple industries. We've already had it tested in many places, but now we're bringing it together. We're running a special session for the Calgary Chamber of Commerce to help them get their operations rolling forward. Because as we know, in Alberta, we are the top destination for small businesses per capita. We have the largest amount. So getting our own chambers really up on what the future of this technology is, what it can offer, and put their own masks on so that they can help other businesses put it on for themselves is really exciting. So that will be, I would say, the what's next to over the short term. And then into 2026, basically our mantra is going to places where other people don't go. So you're going to see me popping up in all small towns. I was in Blairmore last week, all over Alberta, bringing this concept of what AI really is and what it signals for your business and just how you've been operating in the past and what the potential is for how you might operate in the future. And just getting that core education away from the hype and the tools to like the core problems in your business that automation and advanced technology can solve. That, yes, you can call that AI at the end if you want, but just wherever that is, again, going to places where no one else goes is where you will see this faux hawk popping up all over in 2026.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I always talk about, actually, yeah, I love hearing that you're going rural, because I talk about this with the CIC a lot, saying, you know what, we should know more what's going on in Blairmore, Rocky Mountain House, whatever it is, right? We're here together, we're stronger together, and maybe some of the knowledge lies in the cities, but yourself, myself, I know lots of other people who have no problem going to another rural community to have a talk, have a sit down, do a Q&A, have a luncheon, I don't whatever it is.
Yeah, and just provide equitable access to what we would otherwise have here in Calgary. We're really lucky. We've got platform, we've got so many places where people can just walk up to and aggregate. But I think it's really important that we bring the entire province along. And so again, just making sure that that equitable access to our, not just our experience, but also just in their next right steps to keep everybody moving forward, I believe is really important as part of our corporate mission here at what we do at Tacit, right? Equitable access to high quality, standardized technology education. So we will be continuing to take that mission across Canada, and not so much in the United States. Next year, we did have a big clawback on that since this administration has taken over. So, it's for us. We also have some things going in Asia too as well. So just more of what we've been doing and just sticking with it, just like every entrepreneur does. You just work the plan and keep iterating on the plan and growing the plan.
Oh, I love it. I love hearing that. I love what you guys are doing. I love the knowledge that you're sharing, the help that you're giving. And as we talked about before, this is like my favorite 2 hours of the day of the week, because I get to meet incredible people, hear incredible stories, and I'm always sad when they come to an end. But I do have one more question, and I am going to put a spin on it. Just so if you had an answer ready to go, you're going to have to change it.
Which I never do.
I know, me too. So, Christa, if you had one piece of advice for a company that wants to start or look into AI, what would be their first step?
Put your own mask on first. Don't learn on your customers. Learn on yourselves. And, keep it simple. Start small and activate people who are already leaning in. You don't need external expertise. There's a lot of experimentation going on behind the scenes in your organization that you may not be thinking or seeing. So, if you have AI in the shadows in your organization, people are using it, you'll only get half the benefit because they're just going to give themselves the win on their productivity, which they have every right to do. But the second you bring that and you bring it out into the open, you get a much bigger win because you can tie it to a business strategy, and it is way less risky, right? When you're doing it and you're learning out loud. So I would say to every company, learn out loud together right now. That's it. That would be my one big piece of advice in AI adoption. And if you need help, come find us. We're here for it.
They are. And all you have to do is click on the comment section. The website's right there. Takes you right to Tacit Edge.
Yeah.
Oh my, what a great conversation. And again, as I said, so long overdue. I really appreciate you, coming on, sharing your knowledge, and for everything that you and Renee do in our community, to be there for people, to listen to people, to be a shoulder. I mean, that's so important over and above what you're doing in AI.
I appreciate it. I'm really glad we got to do this, Jade. Thanks for having me on. And thanks everybody for watching.
Yes, thank you very much. And again, anybody, it's Innovation Week. Go to platform.com. Their website is in the comments section. If you want to come out, meet other founders coffee every Tuesday. We talked about Tech Tuesday as well. Philip puts on an unbelievable event there. So many great events. Get out there. You never know who you're not meeting if you're not at an event. And I look forward to our conversation next week with Taste the City. It's going to be live on location at Platform. So hopefully our internet works and we don't have any shutdowns. We'll see. But Christa, thank you so much. Keep on being awesome. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Wednesday.